Zamazenta is quite literally the weakest restricted legendary. It is the only restricted weak enough for overuse to the standard tier, and along with Wo-Chien, it has a lower base stat total than every other restricted. So why is Zamazenta the weakest of the restricted legendaries by almost every metric, often considered to be the strongest legendary in the shared power tier? Shared power is a tier where your Pokemon's ability is given to the rest of your team on switching, with some extremely powerful abilities remaining unshared, and some broken ones being outright banned. So what about this format makes Zamazenta so powerful? One of the most important factors determining a Pokemon's strength is the metagame around it. That idea brings us to our first reason why Zamazenta is so powerful, being the priority spam playstyle. Priority spam is a playstyle in which you stack offensive abilities to boost priority moves to their maximum power, using abilities such as Technician, Hustle, and Tough Claws, allowing you to effectively outspeed and one-shot any Pokemon. Priority spam is the most threatening playstyle in the tier by far. Its dominance has created a tier centered around priority spam and Counterplay. If you want to know more about the playstyle, there should be a link to that video popping up right about now. Zamazenta's Dauntless Shield is one of the best available forms of Counterplay against priority. However, Zamazenta alone cannot deal with priority spam, which brings us to the actual topic of this video and Zamazenta's perfect playstyle, Hyper Defense. Hyper Defense is a playstyle in which you stack as many defensive abilities as possible to effectively make your team immortal, allowing you to win with a combination of residual damage and offensive moves. Hyper Defense differentiates itself from Stall by being largely focused on bulky attackers instead of passive damage, with Pokemon like Iron Defense Sweeper Zamazenta and Leech Seed Wo-Chien. This playstyle combines the passive damage of Stall and the setup sweeping of Hyper Offense to easily destroy any opposing team. Houndstone is the core of most defensive teams, with its powerful Fluffy ability having the damage taken from contact moves. Most priority moves are also contact moves, meaning that Houndstone effectively halves the damage of priority moves, allowing other team members to survive exponentially longer. Houndstone may be primarily used for its Fluffy ability, but that doesn't mean it's a dead team slot. Choice Scarf sets can run Trick to forcibly lock the opponent into one move, while allowing Houndstone to select any other move of his choice. Houndstone has access to Poltergeist and Plane Spitz for damage, along with Destiny Bond and Will-O-Wisp to take out or cripple opposing enemies. Houndstone's Fluffy ability alone is not enough to deal with opposing physical moves, so these teams often employ the usage of Wo-Chien and its Tablets of Ruin ability. Tablets of Ruin reduces the opponent's attack to 3/4 of what it once was, effectively making your entire team 33% bulkier. Wo-Chien's excellent special bulk and Poison Terra type serve as an ideal way of dealing with the special attackers that these teams struggle with. Wo-Chien mainly serves as a source of chip damage for these teams, often using Foul Play and Ruination for damage, along with Leech Seed for healing, allowing them to set up for the almost inevitable Zamazenta sweep. With Houndstone's Fluffy ability and Wo-Chien's Grass typing, defensive teams become extremely weak to any special fire type move, which is why they employ Heatran and its Flash Fire ability. Flash Fire makes the user immune to all fire type moves, allowing these teams to stack fire weak types such as Grass or Steel without facing any major consequences. However, Flash Fire is far from the only thing Heatran provides to these teams. Heatran, unlike its more one-dimensional team members, has two main sets it likes to run, a bulky special attacking set and an Iron Defense win condition. Special attacking sets usually run a combination of various special moves, such as Magma Storm or Earth Power, as a method of dealing with the physical walls that Zamazenta struggles against, usually being opposing defensive teams. The other set Heatran tends to run is a Body Press win condition, with Iron Defense and Body Press, along with Rest as a healing option, along with another status move of its choice. It can demolish opposing physical teams on its own with only a few Iron Defenses. Now, before we get into the title mod, there are many other Pokemon that these teams like to use that aren't as mandatory as the big four, but are still major aspects of the playstyle. Ting-Lu is the primary form of counterplay against special attackers in the tier. Its Vessel of Ruin ability allows your entire team to become significantly more specially bulky, further reducing the threat of special attackers against more defensive teams. Ting-Lu is the primary hazard setter for these teams, with access to spikes and stealth rocks, along with Ruination for damage and Whirlwind to force the opponent to switch out. Giratina Origin is the primary Levitate donor in the tier, making Steel type nearly invulnerable and allowing team members to ignore hazards. While it can serve as an offensive physical attacker, it is usually used as a special wall or sweeper, with access to Calm Mind and tons of coverage, it can serve as one of the best forms of counterplay for opposing special defense. Giratina is also frequently used as a status spreader, with access to Thunder Wave and Will-O-Wisp to further cripple special attackers and deal massive ghost type damage. And last, but absolutely not least, we have Zamazenta, the best win condition in the entire tier. Zamazenta utilizes the various defensive abilities of the playstyle to become effectively untouchable. With Dauntless Shield Fluffy and Tablets of Ruin, Zamazenta takes 4 times less damage from physical moves. Zamazenta primarily uses the Steel Terra type, as with Flash Fire, Levitate, and 4 times the defense, it effectively has no weaknesses. Zamazenta may have a slightly lower base stat total compared to other legendaries, but its stats are distributed phenomenally. Zamazenta has extremely high attack speed and defenses, making it the ideal setup sweeper. Zamazenta primarily uses a combination of Iron Defense and Body Press to sweep teams, as Body Press utilizes the user's defense stat and damage calculation instead of attack. Hyper defense teams are built from the ground up to deal with almost every kind of playstyle. So how do you beat hyper defense? Hyper defense teams are most easily beaten with special attackers. While these teams do have many forms of counterplay against special attackers, the most they can do is slightly reduce their offenses with Vessel of Ruin, so special attackers can still effectively beat these teams. Your best bet is usually Quark Drive Electric Surge teams, as they can easily outspeed and one-shot most hyper defense Pokemon. If you don't want to run special attackers, your best bet are non-contact physical attacking teams that utilize moves such as Icicle Spear, Scale Shot, or Bullet Seed. Or if you really want to use priority spam, you can utilize Decidueye's Long Reach to ignore Fluffy, allowing you to deal far more damage to your opponent. To summarize, Zamazenta is the strongest legendary as it is the main winning condition of the hyper defense playstyle, the best form of counterplay against priority spam. Zamazenta likes to combine defensive abilities such as Tablets of Ruin and Fluffy, along with immunity abilities such like Flash Fire to become a nigh invincible win condition, utilizing the combination of Iron Defense and Body Press. Your best bet at beating hyper defensive teams are non-contact moves, with special moves specifically being the best option against these teams. Anyways, if you watched this entire video, you probably like my stuff, so I would really appreciate it if you were to subscribe and like, and if you didn't like it, please fill out the form in the description to explain what you didn't like and how I can do better. Alright, thanks for watching, and bye.